Hello, everybody. I am back. I am making my first, I admit, my first in a while, Gray Geek Lady video. I have been making a bunch of videos for my online classes, so that gives you an idea of why it's taken me so long to get back to my personal vlogs. But let's see, what am I geeking out about this week? Well, the Tony Awards just happened. I tell people in general that there are three things that make my world go around: books, movies, and music. But that leaves out an important thing. There really are four things that make my world go around and that have been a part of my life as long as I have been drawing breath: books, movies, music, and theater. Theater has been important to me for as long as I can remember. In fact, some of my earliest memories involve hearing the soundtrack, or no, not the soundtrack, the original Broadway cast recording of A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, because my dad was playing Erroneous in a local theater production. And I grew up with my dad playing such characters as Judge Danforth in The Crucible and Edward Rutledge in 1776. He always really made a great villain. And then he and Mom together were in The Music Man, where Mom played Mrs. Peru and Dad played Mayor Shin. And in Little Abner, Dad played General Boomous. Yeah, he always seemed to get cast as villains for some reason. And Mom played the lovable Mrs. Peru. And probably my favorite of all the productions I saw growing up, The Diary of Anna Frank, which taught me a lot about history and about the power of empathy. And my mom played Mrs. Frank, and my dad played Mrs. Dussel the dentist. Mr. Dussel the dentist, sorry about that. So theater has always meant a lot to me. And one of the things that we did as a family was watch the Tony Awards every year. We would take a look at the musical numbers. I was always laser focused on the musicals. And we would watch the numbers and we would decide which musical we were rooting for based on which number we liked best. Because living in a small South Georgia town and not in New York, we didn't have many other ways of judging that kind of thing. But still, it was one of the highlights of our year. And now that I'm 55 years old, and I am an actress, writer, and director for the Atlanta Radio Theater Company, still theater, a part of my life's blood. And with my husband, I watch the Tonys every year. So the Tony Awards were held this past Sunday, and I just thought I wanted to talk a little bit about them and mention the things that I liked best, because I don't want to talk to, there were a couple of things that rubbed me up the wrong way a little bit, but I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about those. I want to talk about the things I liked. The Tony Awards are among the few awards shows where I actually enjoy most of the acceptance speeches. There seems to be a lot more class and a lot less crass in the Tony Awards as opposed to other award shows like the Oscars. Even though I may follow the winners. I pay attention to who wins and who loses when it comes to the Oscars, but I don't watch those every year anymore. I used to, but I've fallen out of love with them. But I haven't come anywhere close to falling out of love with the Tonys. So this year, highlights. The musical numbers are always a highlight, and I don't think I saw a musical performance that I didn't enjoy or at least respect. The talent that goes into this, to making these musical numbers work. the dancing, singing, the choreography, everything working so well to put you in that show for just a few minutes. So there wasn't really much of anything I didn't like, but I did have my favorites. These were the numbers that intrigued me. To the point where I was like, I really wish I could see that, or I hope this tours so that I can see that at the Fox here in Atlanta. And I know that my husband and I will want to go back to New York. We went last year. We saw Hadestown, which was amazing. But it may be a while before we get back up there again, and it's highly unlikely any of these shows will still be playing. There will be new shows, new awards contenders. But maybe they'll tour. So the ones that intrigued me most, first of all, Water for Elephants, the tent-raising number. Matt and I both thought that was very clever, very well staged. The number was catchy, and it showed it just enough to get us thinking, I just really want to see how this works out. Now, I've actually read Sarah Gruen's novel. Matt has not. And hopefully we will get a chance to see the stage musical, which hopefully does the novel justice, because there was a really lousy movie that came out a few years back that did not. So hopefully we'll have an opportunity to see it. The next one that really catches my attention on a personal level is Hell's Kitchen, which is a jukebox musical featuring songs by Alicia Keys. Now, I am not normally a jukebox musical person. I much prefer to see numbers at the Tonys where I'm learning these melodies for the first time, original melodies, not something that I've already heard on the radio a bajillion times. But this one has me intrigued. First of all, parts of the number gave me distinct In the Heights vibes. And since I really, really liked In the Heights, it gave me a positive impression of what this musical might be like on stage. Plus, unlike other jukebox musicals I could name, Mamma Mia, this one actually seems to have a decent plot, and it's a plot that I could connect with, because it's a semi-autobiographical story where you have a young woman who is seeking to become a pianist and songwriter, despite living in a neighborhood where the idea, the common thinking is that dreams don't come true. So that's a story that I could connect with. Then we have Suffs. Now, Suffs is the story of a group of suffragettes. Right away, I am rooting for them, even before I've even heard any music at all. Now, I will say the one lowlight, this is the only negative thing that I'm going to talk about. The one lowlight of the ceremony for me was when they brought Hillary Clinton on to introduce the musical number. Now, Clinton did put forth the money to help make this musical happen. So I suppose on that level she had a right to be there. But I really don't like for any politician, blue, red, or purple, whether I agree with them or disagree with them, whether I support them or don't support them, I don't want any politician on my award show. I don't want politics or any fleeting thought of politics to get in the way of my enjoying Broadway's biggest night. So, that being said, obviously Suffs is about a political movement, and this is an important show because before I left Twitter, and I have not looked back at Twitter since I abandoned it, gave it up for Lent, and I just decided not to go back to it. But one of the tags, one of the hashtags of the alt-right that I saw again and again on Twitter back before I left it was repeal the 19th Amendment. So this show, I guess, is pretty timely. And I did enjoy the number. I want to see this on stage. And then finally, probably the least controversial of all of them is that I really vibed with was Merrily We Roll Along, which ended up winning Best Revival of a Play. And this is an interesting case because Matt and I saw a documentary on Merrily We Roll Along, the original production of Merrily We Roll Along, which was a notorious flop on Broadway. And there was a great deal of melancholy, regret surrounding the failure of this musical. So now it's back on Broadway. It's won Best Revival of a Play. Best Revival of a Musical. Best Revival of a Play went to Appropriate, so I'm sorry about that. Best Revival of a Musical, and its two male stars, Daniel Radcliffe and Jonathan Groff, both won awards, Best Featured Actor and Best Actor in a Musical. And as my husband put it very eloquently, Stephen Sondheim is punching the air in the afterlife. Finally, the flop that broke his heart has turned into a success on Broadway. And it looks like the kind of show that I would enjoy. I would enjoy the songs. I would enjoy the story. And luckily, I've heard that they are planning to do what's called a pro shot, a film of the play, so that eventually that will be farmed out to streaming services. And we who live far away from Broadway will actually get a chance to see it. Can't wait. So that's my Tony Awards post-mortem, and I will be back with more geeky things now that I'm on break, got a little bit more time, and I will be seeing you soon.